Hello everyone, I'm Dragons After Dark, and today we're going over part 1 of my series where I talk about tips and suggestions for those looking to start their pet battle journey. These videos are mostly intended for someone with a max level character, but some parts can be useful for someone who isn't quite there yet. I'm basing this on my experience with a fresh account on EU servers, so I could really get a feel for what starting out with almost nothing in my roster felt like. For part 1, we'll be going over add-ons I'd recommend, so let's get started. Add-ons are an important part of being able to use pet battles efficiently, just like any other part of the game, and the first one we are going to go over is Rematch. Rematch is what you see here. This enhances the default pet journal. So this is what you're going to see normally if you don't have anything. And then when you toggle on Rematch, this is what you're going to see here. Rematch allows you to save teams, you have enhanced filter options. There's a lot of things that Rematch can do. You'll just kind of have to use it to get used to it, just like any other add-on. One of the first things I want to point out to you is this queue right here. So the way the leveling queue works is that if you load a team with a Rematch string that will automatically insert a leveling pet, it will pull from this queue here. One of the first options you're going to want to go to is go to the options tab and then go to leveling queue options, and you're going to want to toggle automatically level new pets. This means that anytime you add a new pet to your roster that is less than level 25, it's automatically going to add it to the queue for you. Another option that I would recommend using is going to toolbar options and show import button. So that's going to be this button here. When you get rid of it, it toggles it away, and then you'd have to go to teams, and then you'd have to go to import, and then it'll bring up the screen. However, if you do show import button, all you're doing is you're clicking, pasting, and loading or saving depending on if you're keeping that team or not. As you can see here, you can also have a prompt for your Safari Hat reminder. So what it'll do is it will draw attention to the Safari Hat button while a pet below max level is loaded. So let's say I have this come up. So you see how I have this space here. That's what your leveling pet space will look like for a team. This is my team for Christoph von Fiesel in the Dark Moon Fair. And because it has a leveling slot, it makes the Safari Hat shine brighter to bring your attention to it, to remind you that you should put your Safari Hat on when you're leveling something. If you are someone who likes to have a companion pet out with you by your side, but you get tired of having to resummon it every time you load a team, you will want to go to miscellaneous options and click on keep companion. This will allow you to keep whatever companion you have or do not have out. So as you can see from this, I don't have a pet summoned because I have keep companion toggled when I loaded this team. So I'll scroll out a little bit. So if I load this team, you'll see it summons the Timeless Mechanical Dragon Link automatically anytime you load a team in Rematch. But because I have the Keep Companion pet toggled, it will automatically dismiss it. And if you have a pet out when you load a team, it will resummon the pet that you had out originally. Another one that I have toggled is the list behavior options, slow mouse wheel scroll. So when this one's toggled on, it scrolls the list by one pet. So if I go down, Accursed Hexer's at the top, Adder. If you don't have this toggled, it scrolls a whole chunk. So you see how the whole list kind of jumped. So it should jump to albino snake at the top. So this will depend on whichever method of scrolling you prefer. I do the slow mouse wheel scroll because it helps me track where I'm at a little easier. But again, that's just a preference. The options are just going to be something you're going to have to play around with. But the two I want you to keep in mind that I recommend the most are the import teams option and the automatically level new pet option. Another thing you're going to notice about Rematch is you see this bar here. When you first load Rematch, this bar isn't going to be here, and this bar is crucial when it comes to finding pets for you to work with, as far as finding what you need that's strong against an enemy or weak against an enemy, that type of thing. So you toggle this with this little arrow right here. This arrow is kind of a, I would say a godsend, but we'll say a jello send, I think. Because this to me is a lot easier. You can go to the strong versus tab, and let's say I need a pet that's strong versus humanoid, and then we'll say tough versus magic. So we've got these three that'll come up that show you all the pets you have that do strong damage against humanoids, but take weak damage from magic pets. Same for critters, so it'll do strong damage against other humanoids, but it's tough against critter damage. These are really going to help you out a lot, especially when you are taking advantage of level scaling when you have a lower level roster. Like if you are doing a level 1 scaling team against someone in Shadowlands, like maybe the failed experiment, who takes strong damage again from critters, so you'd need like strong versus undead. And then they do undead damage, so strong versus undead, tough versus undead, and you can see that a lot of aquatic pets with critter damage pop up, and if they have a critter ability in slot 1, you're good to go. That way you're doing strong damage against your enemy, but you're taking weak damage away from them. Don't quote me on that being the ability that the failed experiment has at level 1. That's just kind of an example. The last thing that you're going to see is the quality. So let's say I want a humanoid who does strong damage against, well, we won't do magic. Strong damage against critter pets, but I need them to be faster than my enemy. You'd end up hitting this one, and it will sort your pet list by fastest to slowest, and then it'll do the same with power, so most powerful to least powerful, and then most health to least health. The filtering stuff, you're going to want to mess around with that yourself and get used to it, get used to using it, because this will save you a whole lot of time. And you can also go up here and you can search by abilities. So if I want pets with explode, this is going to show me all the pets that I have with explode, and because explode does damage based on the health of the pet, you'd want to sort by health, and this will tell me which pets I have that have explode that have the most health. Now we can talk about the teams. I'm not quite sure how many teams you can have in the entirety of Rematch as a whole. However, I like to sort mine by where or when I'm using them. So I have all my Dragonflight teams listed here. I have all of my Shadowlands teams listed here. There's not a whole lot in there because I'm still verifying strategies on Zufus with like the Shadowlands strategies. So I really only add a team to a tab once I'm done verifying strategies for that expansion. But you come in here and you can have PvP teams set up, and it will track your win rates. That one's going to be under team win record options. So it will auto track your win record, and if you only want it for PvP battles, which is what I want it for, you toggle for PvP battles only. Just keep in mind that these can get a little weird. They're tracking the team that's currently up. So let's say I load this team here, but then I throw this team out right here. You see how the new team is still highlighted? That means that it's tracking any wins this team makes for this team here. So you just need to make sure that if you toggle something for your PvP team and then you decide, no, I'm gonna look for a whole new team, just keep in mind that because you loaded a team from here, it will track whatever you have setting in there, even if none of the teams you have loaded, like the pets from it, are in there. This is the only tab that actually comes automatically with Rematch. So when you first load it up, if you've never used it before, you've never made any new tabs, you're going to have this general tab come up here. You'll need to go down here. You'll need to create a new tab. So let's say I want to create a new one. You'll type in a name, so Rematch Tutorial, and then you're going to scroll through and pick an icon. There are a lot of icons. They're not just pet icons that come up. We'll pick a duck, we'll save it, and that's it. And let's say I want to move a team to my new tab. You'll just right click, move to, and then you'll move it to Rematch Tutorial, and now that team's in there. Now, what'll happen when you delete a tab is it will ask, do you want to delete the teams with the tab too? And if you toggle that, it will delete everything you have in the tab. If it's not toggled, I'm pretty sure it dumps everything back into your general tab. If I have all these strategies here and I try to delete the tab, it'll dump all 23 here if I don't toggle delete teams with the tab. You can change the name or the target. Like I have this named as capture team. I could change that name here. This one, even though this is loaded by target, I can change the name if I really want to. You can set notes for a team. Some of the teams, if you load them from Zufus, will already come with notes, like this one here. Like this one here was loaded from Zufus, and it comes with all of the turns that the strategy creator put into the body of the strategy. So if you went to this strategy on Zufus, these turns here are the ones that you would see in the actual body of the strategy. And of course, I can add more notes to it. And then you just hit save. If you don't want to save, you just hit undo. And this is movable, or you can toggle this here and lock it and it won't move. Unlock it to move it. Pet Battle Scripts is the add-on that replaced the 2 TD script add-ons that we had. I don't call them TD scripts anymore because that's not the add-on. It was the initials of the add-on creator. I call them PB scripts now. That Pet Battle Scripts. Makes sense. It's the name of the add-on now. But to do that, once you have Pet Battle Scripts, the add-on loaded up, you just right click and you hit write script. If you're copying a script from a website, you just Control V and the script will pop up in here, and then you'll hit save. So to give you an example, this is an already completed script that I have saved here, but this is what that Pet Battle script will allow you to do. It will allow you to save Pet Battle scripts to your teams in Rematch, and when you start a battle, it will pop up. You'll have the pass button, and right next to the pass button, you'll have the auto button. And if you want, you can go into your add-on tabs and go to Pet Battle Scripts, and it will allow you to change your auto battle hotkey here. So another add-on I want to talk about, Battle Pet Breed ID. So we'll go over Battle Pet Breed ID real quick because I can show you right here in Rematch. Some people don't realize that pets in WoW have breeds. So you can see here, the breed is Balance Breed. This one has 6 breeds. So this will display all of the possible breeds, and then it will also, right above it, I can't toggle or I can't hover over it or it'll show all of the stats. It'll also show you the breeds you've collected. So I've collected 2. I've collected the Power Speed and the Speed breeds. I've said it before in my pet collecting around Azeroth and beyond videos that breeds are not super important until you get into strategies, especially for family achievements. Those are the ones where breeds can kind of come in and be really important. Most pets in your list are going to be filler, so you can collect whatever breed you want, and then you can go back and collect another one if you need to later on. But this Pet Battle Breed ID is going to help you see the breeds, not only in your list, but when you're fighting something. That way you don't have to guess, because the default UI and the default journal are not going to let you know what breeds you have or what breeds you are fighting. And if you're doing one of those strategies that needs a particular breed of pet, you need to be able to see the breed of the pet you're battling. Another really nice thing about Rematch is if you have a team loaded for a particular person, especially if you use a Rematch string to load a team, when you click on them, let me scoot back so she doesn't prompt her thing. So we click on them, you see that there's nothing different here, but if you click on them, you'll see a load button. That means that I have a team saved for this particular NPC, which is something a Rematch string will automatically do for you when you save a team with a Rematch string. Another add-on that I think is really great is Pet Battle UI tweaks. So you go to the add-on list, we're going to look here. So it says Battle Pet UI tweaks, my apologies. This allows you to have a round counter, so display the number of the current round in the VS circle at the top of the battle UI. So right here you can see for me, it says round 1 instead of versus, which is super helpful. Current stats, it will display the health percentage, power, and speed of the frontline pets beneath their health bars. So right here, and it'll also display it if you hover over the other pets on the back line. Keybinds bind the forfeit, pass, and pet swapping buttons to keys 6, 7, and 1 through 3 respectively. So I really recommend Pet Battle UI tweaks. It's mostly I use it for the round counter, but obviously I also use it for the stats when I'm making strategies. It's also nice to have the pass button bound to a number. It's overall just a really nice add-on that does some stuff that I think the default UI should have, but such is life with pet battles. Now, for being able to see enemy abilities, you have 3 options. So you can have the Pet Battle UI tweaks display the enemy abilities, and they will show up down here. So that will display the enemy abilities and their cooldown at the bottom of the battle UI. The issue with this one is it will only display the frontline enemy's abilities. And if you're trying to time something to a cooldown that maybe the backline pet has, you're not going to be able to see what the backline pet has. The other option is Pet Tracker also displays the pet battle abilities down here. That was the one you saw before. I had the Battle Pet UI tweaks up. That one isn't as great. If I'm being perfectly honest, the Pet Tracker one, I think has an issue displaying enemy cooldowns properly, especially in PvP. This one might also have issues displaying enemy abilities in PvP properly. Your third option, and arguably the best of the three, is Derangement's Pet Battle Cooldown. The issue with Derangements right now is that its latest updated version is not going to be on CurseForge, which will put some people off of it. That one we have on the Warcraft Pets Discord server. We have the updated file there. Someone in the community updated the line or so that needed to be done. Derangements displays everything up top. It displays your pets' cooldowns. It displays your backline pet cooldowns if you need to track those for a swap. And it displays the enemy backline cooldowns and abilities. Arguably, Derangements is the best of the three, and I would recommend it if you can get to the Warcraft Pets Discord, if that's something you're comfortable with. The file can be found there. You can just come in and ask someone to show it to you, or I believe it is pinned in the add-ons section. But those are going to be your three options. Pet Tracker and the Battle Pet UI tweaks, if you don't want to download a second add-on, has that option. The third option is Derangements. As you can see, I'll usually have both up. This one gives me a quick reference here. While I can click my abilities, I can see what abilities are up, and if you know the enemy pet's behavior, you can just do a quick look and then decide what you're going to use next. But for PvP, the cooldowns get a little funky on the bottom ones. Derangements, I believe, is the only one I've seen that accurately tracks cooldowns of the enemy pet abilities in PvP. I do recommend you download one of the three because there are quite a lot of strategies that tell you, hey, if the enemy has this ability available, you need to use this ability, and this helps get rid of some of that confusion or guessing or trying to keep track of the enemy's cooldowns in your mind. If you're still collecting wild pets, I highly recommend the add-on called Battle Pet Quality Check. What this does is at the beginning of your wild battles, it will tell you all of the pets that you're going against on the enemy team. It will display their quality, and then the important part, it will let you know if you already own the pet and what quality you own the pet at. For anyone who's done any pet battling, obviously you know that this means it cuts out the middleman. Instead of going, okay, there's a wild Palamanther here that's blue quality, and then you have to go into Rematch and you have to type in Palamanther, and then you look and you go, oh, okay, I already have it in blue quality, we're good. You don't have to do that. Battle Pet Quality Check will do that for you. You can't see my chat because I have my chat box hidden. However, you probably wouldn't even be able to see it anyway because it is super small in the chat box. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot and I'm going to throw it in the middle of my screen right here to give you an example of what this will look like. And that's it for part 1 of my series where I talk about tips and suggestions for those looking to start their pet battle journey. And if you're a veteran player and or battler, hopefully there was something helpful there for you too. I'll have the links to all the add-ons in the description below, and if there are any you recommend for pet battling, feel free to drop your suggestions in the comments. Next week, I'll be going over unlocking world quests, which will be your source for charms, stones, and bandages. Until next time, I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you for stopping by, and happy battling!